Sister Amina, assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Now you are originally French,
Yes,
living in London.
yes.
You've been a Muslim nearly 30 years, 29 years,
Yes.
since 1995, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, how did you make this journey to Islam? How did you become aware of Islam?
I've always been aware of Islam because I grew up in a little town in France, not far from Geneva, Switzerland, but in France, a small town.
Oh, in the West.
Yes, yes. Not
Sorry,
far
in the
from
east. In the east of France.
Yes, east of France,
East of France.
southeast, we can
Yes.
say. Very close to Switzerland, where there were a lot of Moroccan, Algerian, a few Tunisian as well, and a lot of Turkish people as well. So, and I lived in a consular state, we can say. And there were a lot of foreigners.
Your neighbors were Muslim.
Most of them. We were only 2 or 3 European family, 1 Portuguese, 1 or 2 French, like me, like mine, and that's it. The others were mainly...
So Islam wasn't a strange thing for you?
No. But the people I grew up with were, the parents or grandparents were quite practicing, but the children very little. They didn't have the culture of Islam most of the time.
Subhanallah.
They did fast in Ramadan, but even teenagers, they were not praying, for example.
But how did you yourself become interested in Islam?
It came like progressively. I know some people revert from one day to another after a dream or something like that. For me, it's very long. Even in real life, generally, I always read between the lines. I'm very slow to be convinced. But the first thing, major event that happened in my life was because my parents were quite poor. We had some, how do you call it? Maybe holiday check. Like we could access to holidays, like holiday camps before young people. You know, like. Basically, they take a bunch of teenagers or kids with teachers, not the family.
You go camping?
Yeah, kind of like, yes. Either camping, either going canoe, or either riding horses or this kind of thing. And in one of these camps, it was 2 weeks. It was actually with tents, so proper camping. They put me with 2 sisters, so 2 sibling sisters and 2 other sisters, Arabic origin, but I don't remember. I think Moroccan and Algerian, but I'm not sure. And these 4 girls, every day before sleeping, they were doing with the finger like that, they were doing their Shahada. So when you hear that 14 times, obviously it's very short, you remember it by heart. So,
in Salat or just?
No, just doing Shahad before sleeping.
Oh.
I think the parent told them to do Shahad before sleeping, but they were not praying. I've never seen anyone praying when I was a child. And that took in, and even before that, I loved Arabic culture, and I was always attracted with that. My nanny was a Moroccan lady. My dad was very racist, very Islamophobic, but he kind of accepted 2 families that were nice. And I don't blame him for being racist, because in my consular state, all the Moroccan, Algerian, and even the Turkish ones, the kids were not well behaved. They were racist against French people, so they were insulting my dad for being a French man or something. So they didn't show a good dawah or good, it was not attracting for Islam
Bad
at
example.
all. Very bad example. And my dad knows only these people. I mean, the media as well in France, they go in that direction. They show Arabic people or Muslim people only when they do bad things. They would never show Muslim when they do good things. So in their mind, obviously, naturally, if you live in France, you are naturally racist, except if you really want to go outside and see people. So he accepted this family, and this one was a registered nanny, we can say, that lady. So I was with her and all the time, and she had a daughter same age as me. And even when it was not time for her to look after me as a babysitting, I was still in her house all the time.
So she either came to you or you went to her?
No, I was always in her house. She was a nanny, but in her house. So she looked after me, my brother, 3 years younger.
Like a nursery?
Yes, she had a childminder. She was a childminder in her house. And she had to keep track of every time she was looking after me to get paid. But she told me I always kept track when I could see your brother and sister, because when my brother and sister were in the house, it means she was getting paid. But when I was there, it didn't mean she was getting paid, because I was in her house all the time. I didn't want to be in my house. So I was always bullying her. Please let me write my name in Arabic. Can you teach me how to write Arabic? And she was teaching me. So my French name is Karen. So Karine, when you pronounce it in Arabic, well, she never knew how to write that with Karine with a Rein or Karine with a Ra. And I learned the both way. And I wanted to cook Arabic, to learn Arabic. And I was always attracted with that. So when I went to that camp and I learned the Shahada, I was doing that every evening instead of the French, like Notre Père.
Oh, you started doing the Shahada yourself?
Yes, without knowing the meaning. But because my dad is completely, I think, atheist, but my mom was quite practicing Christian, and I was going to the Christian lessons every Sunday. So my dad wanted me to go to the church because he said, I want my kids to learn about good and bad. So even if he doesn't believe in God, you see, he still wants his kid to learn about good and evil in church. So these people, for me, atheists, are not congruent with themselves.
There's a contradiction.
Yes. And the contradiction is something that led me to Islam.
Subhanallah.
That's the contradiction all the time. So
when did the decisive moment come?
So the camp was when I was roughly 13. So I started to learn more about Islam, and then I asked the monk or the priest that was teaching her, can we pray in any language? Because I didn't want to do the Notre Père or Our Father every evening. I wanted to pray in Arabic every evening. And he said, yeah, God invented the languages. God will understand you in any language. So I stopped doing the French prayer and I started to do Shahada every evening. Next step was we learned about Prophet Isa alayhi salam, so Jesus, how kind he was and everything. So that was not shocking for me. But we learned two things that were very contradictory. We learned once that Jesus alayhi salam or Isa was God himself. Astaghfirullah. Okay. So God incarnated in him. So that was one lesson that we had. And then we learned that
Catholicism, isn't it?
Yes, Catholic, yes. But then another time we learned that when he is on the cross, he looked at the sky and said, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they do. And I asked the priest, but who is he talking to? Is God. There's no one left in the sky. So one of the two stories couldn't make.
It's a bit difficult, isn't it?
And he told me, no, you always you want to always do debate and everything. You are polemic and stuff. He didn't want to reply to me, but that's when I started to look about everything. And when I left that little town of France when I was 18 for Lyon, the big town, for university, I ended up in a building with a lot of students. I met some Senegalese people. I met Hafiz from Sudan. I met some people from Mayotte. You know Mayotte Island? It's near Qamar Island. All these islands, they are very Muslim, very practicing Muslim.
The Comoros.
Yes. And one is a French-speaking island. One of these four islands is more French. So this guy was from there. And I met another Tunisian, very practicing man. And what shook me was they don't speak the same language, they don't have the same culture, but they pray all the same way, saying all the same thing. They can't all be wrong. There's something there. And I started to dig more about religion. And I think that's the time when I read the first time the book from Maurice Bucaille, Bible, Quran and Science.
Oh, Maurice Bucaille, yes.
And that opened, and then that's at the same time that I met my son's dad. My son is now 30. His dad is from Senegal. He's not very knowledgeable, but because he knew that I wanted to learn about Islam, he introduced me to one of his friends who is very knowledgeable in Arabic. And that man taught me the basics of Islam, how to do Shahada, which I already knew, but without, I realized that I was not pronouncing well some letters. And he taught me how to pray, how to make wudu and stuff. And until now, every time I make wudu, I remember him. So 30 years later, this man is still getting some hasanat on the way.
True.
And I decided that I would revert to Islam. And I finally jumped and reverted and took my again Shahada, but this time with 2 witnesses official, when my son was 1. So it was 1995, yes.
And what was the impact on your family?
Well, that was a lot, because as I said, my dad was very racist and Islamophobic before.
So and now Islam has come to the house.
Yeah, Islam, and I was with a black man. So it
more complex.
Yes, and the thing was that at the time, because I'm the older one and we have 3 kids, my dad used to get some, we can say, child benefit. The allocation that we have in France. And when I wanted to marry my son's dad, even before I knew I was pregnant, we wanted to marry. But my dad was completely against that, because he would have lost me in the benefit 5. He would have benefit only for 2. And in France, when you have only 2 kids, it's very small. When you have 3, it's quite interesting. So he didn't want to lose that. And he started to come from my little town to Lyon to hit me again, because he hit me all my life from, I don't know, I can't remember, very young, up to 15. I don't know why he kind of stopped when I was 15.
He abused you?
Physically, yes, very violent.
Wow.
Yeah, never sexually, never, but physically. It's because at the beginning, I hated him for that, and I thought he hated me because he was violent, but I realized that he was himself abused before, and he had no tools. So that's why now I'm very passionate about giving tools for people to get out of their schemes of...
So even though now you've become more independent, he would come to you?
Yes, in that building, when I was talking about this building, about all these students, he was coming here, hitting me. So the social worker had to make me move in emergency to another building with students, but in another part of the town, Lyon. And then I was not, that's when I discovered I was pregnant. And I didn't even know I was pregnant. So when I discovered I was pregnant, I was not Muslim yet. Remember, I reverted my son.
So you were boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yes.
But then after you embraced Islam, you decided to get married?
No, that was not exactly like that. We met, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, then we decided to marry. I was not Muslim yet, but I didn't even know I was pregnant, or it would come a little later. Then when I saw all the problem with my dad, I decided I will not marry because it will be too much of a problem with him. But then I realized that maybe I was Muslim, maybe I was pregnant. And that's when I started to go to the local church, and I was praying to God, asking, I hope I'm not pregnant. I was making dua for not being pregnant. That would be too much of a trouble. Then
dua in the church.
Kind of, yes. It was dua, yeah. Then I was making dua for actually being pregnant, because I wanted to have my family, and I thought it would. And then I was completely lost. So I started to ask God to do whatever you want for me. I don't know what's good for me. Just do whatever is good for me. Decide for me. And that's when I discovered I was pregnant, and I was still searching about Islam. And before I reverted, there were a few episodes where, before going out of the house to go to uni, I wanted always my son's dad to teach me, to be with me when I do the ghusl. I wanted to literally wash myself, and I wanted to have that purity. And when I was not praying, but I was cleaning myself properly. When I was doing this kind of wudu, when I go out, I had the impression I was so strong that even if a car bumped into me, that car would be broken, not me. I was feeling so strong, so protected, so like a shield, yeah. And then I started to continue studying with that man, his friend, about Islam. And then I decided I wanted to revert, but I was already pregnant. So they told me you can't revert when you are pregnant. And
why not?
They say because the child was not created during Islam or something, like you were not Muslim. So they said you have to deliver the baby first. I don't know if it's true or not, actually.
That's not true.
I don't know. They said,
Islam is you deciding to resign yourself to Allah.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with anything. Yeah. So once you are convinced that Allah is your creator and you want to have a good relationship with Allah, it's nothing to do with being pregnant or not being pregnant.
Yeah, no, because they said that it was kind of like haram, basically, to have a child or something like that.
Yeah, but that was before Islam, in Jahiliyyah.
Yeah.
And the rule is that Islam wipes out everything that is before it.
Yeah.
It's a new start. It's a new life.
So I don't know why they said that, but they said, no, you have to deliver the baby. And so I had the baby, but still then I kept studying because my son was born in November 94, but it's only in 95. I don't remember the date or the month when I reverted, but I would just remember it was 95.
You were waiting for him to be born in order to revert to Islam.
Maybe, yes.
Subhanallah.
So 95.
What about your mother? Because she was more religious than your father.
Yeah. So when I was in Lyon, my mum and my dad were both in my native town, but they were divorced for a long time already. They were already divorced. It took so long years, but they finished. And my mum is the kind of woman, as long as you are happy, I'm happy for you.
Sure, she was tolerant then.
Yes, but I know that now she's quite ashamed being with me in the street with the scarf and people looking at her. She doesn't really like that.
Until today?
Until now, yes. Because as I said, it's because of what people say in France, in the media. They show hijabi ladies as either submitted, either stupid, either they show them like that.
And it's like, for someone like you, it's not easy to be a Muslim in France, isn't it?
Yes, in France it's very hard to be
When
covered.
did you decide to come to England?
I came to live in UK 2010. 2010. So
it's
I
much
think,
better here, isn't it?
Yes, here at least I can be whoever I am. And you know, I met a man from Mali, and he was doing a PhD about sociology in France, and he was saying about, in France they always use the word integration. They said you have to integrate yourself. And it was very true, saying that in France they use the word integration, but they don't mean integration. In France, when they told you need to integrate, they can't integrate you with a big boo-boo like Senegalese people, for example, or a beard like Muslim people. No, if you want to be integrated, you have to assimilate yourself. So you really have to look like them. But here, I can really feel I am integrated. French, with a proper French accent. Unfortunately, I tried to reduce it, but I don't know how. With a scarf on my head, so I'm looking Muslim, but I'm still part of the society, of the parent in the school. Here, I really feel integrated. In France, they talk about integration, but they don't want you to be too much like your origins. You have to look like the population. They say they want religion to be private, but it's a lie. It's particularly for Islam, because other religions they don't really mind. Monks or sisters who go in the tube, for example, when they are dressed like Mother Teresa, it's fine. They wouldn't have any bad look or insult. But ladies who have a scarf or who have a jilbab, they would be trouble.
Although, of course, France is known for its secularism and atheism, but yet when it comes to Islam, they become more Christian.
They become completely anti-religion.
Anti-religion, yes.
Yes. So for me, it's a lie. When they say
but
they
not
are
necessarily
secular.
anti-Christian. Not necessarily anti-Christian.
No, anti-Christian. No, they are not anti-Christian. And when there are any event, all the politics, all the presidents and almost all the ministers in France, they have no issue wearing kippah and going to events and they fine. But for hijab and stuff, no, the religious signs have to stay private, they say. So for me, if I have one word to describe France, it would be hypocrisy. They are very hypocritical.
Now, the way you described to me this gradual, long process,
yes,
it seems to me that you were well absorbed by the Muslim community when you embraced Islam, right?
Yes, but because I was in Lyon, I didn't know a lot of Muslims in Lyon, and I had not voluntarily, but I had to cut with everyone in my native town because of a problem with my dad. So I cut all the links with my nanny, my friend, and I started to build up a new community in Lyon. But Lyon, I like it because it's very open, and we are not like insulted or something, but I didn't wear my scarf straight away. I reverted to Islam, but I was not covered. So outside, I didn't have any problem because I was not wearing hijab until 2002.
Oh.
April 2002, that's when I started.
Now, why did you move to England?
Just to be free, just to be able to live with my hijab, but still be practicing and everything. Because I was searching for a job in France, and when I moved, my son was 6. But and I have some degree to teach French for foreigners, a little like ESOL in UK. But with a scarf, there was no way I could find a job. I managed to find a job in my previous job in a factory with the scarf. But I have few degrees. Should I stay in a factory? But I have nothing against people working as a cleaner or factory. But when you do degree, you don't aim for this kind of job. So I wanted to be better. And every time I was going to the equivalent of job center, they were telling me, no, but don't really say that you are looking for a job. Because if you are searching for a job, you don't go to an interview dressed like that. And they were always showing my hijab.
So they just put a cross on you.
So they were saying like, I'm not serious. And I say, I'm teaching French with a scarf or without a scarf. My brain is the same, my teaching would be the same, my competence, my skills, everything would be the same. But they didn't want to. Then I was fed up of looking for like teacher job. I knew I would never have that. So I started to look for cleaner job because I knew that at least cleaner, I can find a job. So I finally found one. I had the interview on Friday evening, and the Friday evening when I met the boss, it was to clean offices when there is no one left in the building. And I was supposed to start on the Monday, and everything went fine. And I went to the interview not with a big hijab. I went like today, trousers with something long. So if he told me, oh, take them up or something, I would be able to do it. But he told me, oh, last thing, when you come on Monday to start, you can come with a little bandana if you want, but not that. And that's again. Ooh. And I said, sorry? To clean offices when there's no one? Why is it a problem? And I said, actually, mister, I will thank you. You are the last kick I needed to leave that country that is mine, that I love, but still, there's no way I will not remove my scarf to clean your offices.
So it was hopeless in France?
Yes. I know some sisters now that who manage to find a few jobs, but generally either they find, for example, if they are accountants or things like that, they can find job if their boss are Muslims, or when they are biologists or things like that, they work in schools.
When they are needed.
Yes, when they are very needed, they didn't find anyone else, and the offices are completely closed. No one would see them, but they would never hire someone public, or except, for example, Action. It's like Walmart in US. They are big shop because the company is not French, or IKEA. IKEA because it's Swedish. They don't care. So a lot of cashier actually in IKEA actually are hijabi sisters.
Now here in the UK, how is it for someone like you? You are French and you are a Muslim. Are you fully integrated?
Completely, but I think I have maybe a too nice vision about UK. I think it's because I'm in London. London is very open. I met George.
Very multicultural.
Yes, I met George Galloway a few times, and when we talked about that, he told me if you go in other smaller towns, you might be disappointed.
Naturally.
But in London, yes, I've never had any discrimination. I know there are some, but I've never been any victim of any discrimination or bad look or.
And is there a good revert community you are part of?
Yes, I know many reverts. Polish, French, Spanish, Italian. I know a lot. One from Brazil. I know many revert sisters, and I can't live in a place where everyone is the same because I don't fit in any box anyway. I'm not I'm not proper French. I'm not proper Muslim. So I like people being from all over the world. And even, for example, if you told me go in an estate where everyone is only Muslim, I wouldn't like it because even when there is only Muslim, it's problem because either you are too practicing, you don't celebrate birthday, you are extreme, or you wear colors, that's not good. You are either too practicing, either not enough. That's why I like when it's very mixed, very mixed.
Have you been to any Arab countries?
Only Algeria, because my husband is Algerian now.
Now, your current husband, when did you marry him?
the day I landed in London.
Oh, so you were divorced in France?
Yes.
And you came here and you married him?
Yes, and I came to UK saying I will never marry again. And I came to UK to never have to marry again. That's why in French we have a proverb that says "Fontaine, je ne boirai jamais de ton eau." It means Fontaine, I will never drink your water. They say never say that.
Never say that.
Because I divorced few
never
times.
Never say no.
Yeah, because you never know actually. I divorced few times in France. I think it's because I didn't know myself, so I didn't know what was a good husband for me, and that's why it didn't work. And that's also why I wanted to work, because I'm not lazy. I know I have skills. I know I can do many things. And I don't want to depend on only a man. Even if it's a very wealthy man, I really want to have my independence. The freedom, the independence is something very important for me. And I thought in France, either I stay and I marry someone who can look after me, either I work, but working, as we discussed, it was too tricky. I tried, it didn't work. So and some of my friends came back from UK and they told me, go to UK, go to any town or London or something. You can do whatever you want. And like if you were in France, but without a scarf. And I thought, okay, let me try. And that's when I started to look for the ways I can come to London. I was thinking to come either London, either Qatar. I was very interested in Qatar. And I was working at the time in a Muslim secondary school in Lyon. And the man is Syrian, but has a lot of connection with Qatar. And I asked him to help me if he can help me to go to Qatar. He told me, if you want to go to Qatar, you need to be fluent in English or in Arabic. And I thought, okay, English, I was not speaking like now, but I could understand well and read. And I thought, okay, maybe I will go to England first to improve my English, and then I will come back to him because Arabic will take too much time.
So it was supposed to be transit.
Yeah, but the transit, yes, and I said I would never marry. And I met my husband, and I met my husband before, but it was online, and we get on, and I decided that yes, maybe I will marry again. Well, I said I would never marry again. What am I doing? But yes, but this time I ticked many boxes before marriage.
And now you have how many children do you have?
So we have 4 together: 13, soon 12, 11. Soon 11, and then the little one, she is 7.
May Allah bless them all, inshallah.
Yes, and I was supposed to never conceive. The doctor said I can't conceive.
Oh, really? Yet you had 4 children.
Yes. Yes.
Well, Sister Amina, thank you very much, and I appreciate you coming in this morning to talk to us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.